Well, good morning on an early March morning in 2021, just after daylight savings time, early in the morning, so hopefully I won't sound too sleepy doing this video. This is Carol King, the developer of Custom Home Builders Solutions, also known as CHS. We are continuing with some videos about how to maintain vendors, people that you pay like trades or suppliers or overhead suppliers, and how to maintain them. In this particular video, we are going to talk about how you can change the vendor code that you set up for the vendor. And before I go to the vendors list we've been talking about, I've opened the window where we select a vendor for accounts payable for paying bills. And we have a vendor called JTS Wallpaper and Paint, and I sometimes start typing too fast when I'm selecting a vendor, and I might start typing JTSW and it's not there. But if I just do JTS, I see JTS Paint. The name of their company is JTS Wallpaper, so we refer to them like that. So perhaps I want to change this vendor code from JTS Paint to JTS Wallpaper, so I quit doing that. So when I type JTSW, I will see it because I'm thinking of JT's Wallpaper. Or perhaps you have a vendor set up called King Carol to pay me, and for some reason I changed my last name and now it's Carol Black. So you want to change it from King Carol to Black Carol. And again, I will emphasize, let me back this up, that you should set up very intuitive vendor codes for typing, just like you saw. You shouldn't have like a bunch of numbers for your vendor codes so that you have to scroll through this whole list trying to figure out how to find them. You want them to be intuitive so that if you start typing Ambath or Allsafe, you go right to it as you type. If I'm typing all, there it is. Easy to select without scrolling through the whole list. I just wanted to re-emphasize that. I'm going to close this window. This is not about posting a bill. And we'll get started on changing a vendor code. We'll go to Vendors Setup and Info, and we'll select Vendors List and Setup. And we're interested in changing the code for that JT's Wallpaper, so I'm just going to click J in the alphabet up here. And here is that JT's Paint, and we want to change it to JT's Wallpaper. Before changing a vendor code, you might want to take a look at where it's been used in case you're worried that when you change it, all of these things would change. So if I look at vendor payables bills, I can see all the bills. Maybe I want to save that and print it out and then look at it after I change the vendor code to JTS Wallpaper and see if I get this very same vendor ledger. Because what will happen when you change a vendor code is that it will do what is called cascade update throughout the database. So everywhere that you use that vendor code for purchase orders, for posting bills, for putting them on the schedule, for doing comments, this and that, every record throughout the database will change from the vendor code you're changing it from to the vendor code that you're changing it to. And then if you do used after you change the vendor code, you'll see that you get the same reports but with a different vendor code. So you do that under Change Code. So you click Code, and we're going to change it from JTS Paint to JTS Wallpaper as far as we can go. I can't type anymore because you're limited to 10 characters for a vendor code. So all you do is put in your new vendor code, change the vendor code, and it says that it has been successfully changed. It says the list will refresh so that the change can be in there, so I'll click the J's again, and you'll see it now says JTS Wallpaper. And if I look at Used again, and I do vendor payables bills, I have the very same set of bills, except now they are attached to this new vendor code. That's how easy it is. It will take care of it everywhere, but if you want to print out several of these before you change your code and then look at them after, just in case you're concerned it won't change everywhere, you can. Now what happens when you make changes like this or delete vendors, etc., like I showed in the previous video about deleting, is that an audit record is put into the audit table of who made the change and what the change was. So right here at the top on March 16th, 2021 at 5:13, I told you it was early in the morning, it says Carol King changed vendor code from JTS Paint to JTS Wallpaper. One thing in this audit record, if you have a bunch of reports that have JTS Paint on them, and now you can't find the same report with JTS Paint and you say, look, I have this report, but now it doesn't exist in my list, you can search right here. And JTS Paint won't be in this drop down for searching for vendors because we actually changed the code. So if you wanted to see all the things that happen to JTS Paint, see it's now JTS Wallpaper. Right under here it says type in if missing one. So let's put in JTS Paint to search for all audit records about that particular vendor and submit a search. Now we can see a couple of audit records. Pay no attention to this one. I changed it to test before doing this video yesterday. And now we can just see the things that have happened to the vendor or contact. They're called contact. All payers, vendors, etc. will be called contact here. JTS Paint. You can see if I do search and do JTS Wallpaper, and you can just do partial. You can see where I was preparing for this video yesterday, and earlier I did other videos changing it back and forth, but you can see all the stuff that's happened with that particular vendor back and forth, whoever's made changes. But what is stored here in the audit records is the original thing before it was changed. Just wanted you to know about the audit, and that's about all it takes to change your vendor code. Again, don't set up a bunch of vendor codes that are sort of meaningless. Set up vendor codes so that you can intuitively start typing to search for them when you're entering bills to pay or looking for them to create a new purchase order, etc. Thank you for watching and have a great day.